Hi, welcome back. In this next lesson, we'll be talking about how to test sell to prospects. So this is the true customer development process. It's where you interview potential customers to find out the truth about your product, about your price, and in the end, find out if they're willing to buy. So let's get started. These are some of my tried and true methods. So the first suggestion in the technique that I have is that make sure you're talking with the decision maker. For consumer products, this is really a straightforward process. You know who the buyer is. But if you are pitching a proposed solution for a business, make sure you're talking with the person who writes the check or at least has significant influence over the decision. And interviewing customers and users of your product is a really essential part of your product development process. You need to make sure that the users are happy. But in the end, you need to know that you are solving a pain and the pain of a buyer. And the buyer, the one who writes the check, that's where the rubber meets the road. And so unless you're talking with that decision maker, you're not getting the truth about your product. And so this also will be a test for you to making sure that you can reach the decision maker of the product, whatever acquisition model you have. And so this is a suggestion that I have that I think will make a big difference in test selling your product. The next suggestion that I have is ask the question about will you buy? And so this is a tough one for companies and people to do. If you are an engineer, maybe you're not comfortable asking this question, but by asking this question and then sitting back and listening, you're going to uncover a lot of information. It's really very tempting when you're in an interview with someone and you're asking an uncomfortable question to jump in, kind of fill that void, fill the silence with some words. But I encourage you to ask the question, step back, take a deep breath, and then let them talk through the rationale of whether they would buy. So this is a great way of getting your product hypothesis on the table early. Okay, if they say that they'll buy, this is where it gets tough. So you need to ask them the 5 whys. Dig deep and start asking why and have them justify their answer. Why would you want to buy that? What problem does it solve? Ask them what their world looks like after they buy your product. So this is a great technique for product development, to keep asking why and getting to the root cause or the root answer further and further the more you ask. Another suggestion I have is to do some negative selling. So if they really like what you're doing, it is helpful sometimes to understand if they are telling you that they like what you're doing because they're nice, or whether they truly would find value in your product. And so what I suggest you do is to nicely challenge them with some questions, and you're going to get a lot of insight by doing this. So have them justify their answers. If they say that they like a particular feature, ask them why. What are they going to get out of that feature? And by doing this, you're going to understand their thought process a lot better, their purchase process, and maybe even you'll have a buyer at the end of this discussion. So the next suggestion I have is ask them what they think a fair price is. And this technique works sometimes and it doesn't work sometimes. I've had people come out and tell me something that I did not expect, and I was completely surprised at the amount of value that they found in the product. And I've also had people tell me that they would pay 1 cent. Well, both answers are enlightening. Both answers give you some information. And it's also a great way to open up a conversation. And it's really helpful for them to do the return on investment calculation. So have them imagine if they have your product, and then have them do the calculation out loud of what benefits, financial benefits they would get. So maybe your product saves them time, or maybe their product helps them get more business. Well, ask them to do that calculation. How much is a new client worth to them, or how much is an hour of their time worth? And this gives you a great starting point for price. So those are a few really quick techniques that I've had that really work wonders in the interviews, and I suggest you use some of those in your next customer development interviews as well. So until next time, thanks for watching.